Have you ever looked at a man and wondered, is he actually attracted to me? Or am I just imagining it? Because here's the truth. A man can control his words, but his body often tells the story before his mouth ever does. He may never walk up to you and say, I'm attracted to you. He may try to play it cool. He may act confident, distracted, or even uninterested. But attraction has a way of leaking through the cracks. His eyes reveal it. His posture reveals it. The way he moves around you reveals it. And sometimes the smallest things he does without realizing it can tell you more than 100 romantic words ever could. The mistake many women make is listening only to what a man says. But if you want to understand attraction, you have to pay attention to what happens when he forgets that you're watching. Because genuine attraction isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a glance that lasts half a second longer than it should. Sometimes it's the way he suddenly fixes his shirt when you walk into the room. Sometimes it's how his entire energy changes the moment you get close. And if you know what to look for, you can recognize those signals without chasing, questioning, or demanding an answer. The first sign is his eyes. A man who is attracted to you will often look at you differently from the way he looks at everyone else. You might catch him looking at you when he thinks you aren't paying attention. Then the second you look back, he quickly looks away, and you might think, maybe that meant nothing. But sometimes that quick reaction means everything. Because when a man is genuinely drawn to a woman, his attention naturally gravitates toward her. He may try to hide it, but his eyes keep finding her. You walk into the room and somehow he notices. You start talking, and somehow he's watching. You're laughing with someone else, and somehow his eyes drift in your direction. That doesn't automatically prove romantic attraction, because people look at people for many reasons. But when that pattern keeps happening alongside other signs, it becomes much harder to dismiss. And here's what makes this powerful. You don't have to chase his attention. You don't have to perform for him. You don't have to become louder just so he notices you. If he's genuinely interested, his attention will naturally move toward you. The second sign is that his body starts pointing toward you. Pay attention to his feet, his shoulders, and the direction of his body when you're around. A man can be talking to 3 people, but if his feet or torso repeatedly turn toward you, that can show where his attention is naturally focused. He may not even realize he's doing it. That's the fascinating thing about body language. Sometimes the body reacts before the conscious mind has time to create a strategy. And when you notice this, don't immediately assume he wants me. Instead, look for consistency. Does he turn toward you when you speak? Does he lean in when you're talking? Does he position himself closer to you, even when there's plenty of space? Does he seem more physically engaged with you than with everyone else? Those details matter because attraction often creates a desire for closeness, not desperation, not obsession, just a natural pull towards someone. The third sign is that he suddenly becomes more aware of himself around you. Have you ever noticed a man touching his hair, adjusting his shirt, straightening his jacket, fixing his watch, or checking his appearance when you approach? That can be a subtle sign that your presence matters to him. Think about it. When someone walks into the room who means nothing to you, you usually continue doing whatever you were doing. But when someone you're attracted to appears, suddenly you become aware of how you look. You straighten up, you adjust yourself, you become more conscious of your appearance. And men do this too. He may not even know he's doing it. Maybe you walk over and suddenly he sits up straighter. Maybe he runs his hand through his hair. Maybe he checks his clothes before talking to you. Maybe his voice changes slightly. These are small moments, but small moments can reveal big emotions. The fourth sign is that he mirrors you. This is one of the most interesting forms of body language because it can happen almost completely unconsciously. You cross your arms and moments later he does something similar. You lean forward and he leans forward. You take a sip of your drink and shortly after he does the same, you smile and his face naturally responds with a smile. Mirroring can happen because people naturally synchronize with someone they feel connected to or engaged with. Again, one gesture alone doesn't prove attraction. But when you see mirroring combined with eye contact, closeness, nervousness, and increased attention, you may be looking at a much stronger pattern. And that's the key. Never build your entire conclusion around one signal. Watch the pattern because attraction isn't one isolated moment. It's a collection of behaviors that keep showing up The fifth sign is that his energy changes when you're around. This one is easy to overlook. A man might be calm with everyone else, but when you enter the conversation, suddenly he becomes more animated. Maybe he starts joking more. Maybe he becomes slightly nervous. Maybe he talks faster. Maybe he suddenly becomes quieter because he's trying not to reveal too much. Maybe he becomes unusually confident, or maybe he becomes awkward. And that awkwardness can actually be revealing. People sometimes assume attraction always looks smooth and confident. It doesn't. Sometimes attraction makes a person nervous because suddenly the interaction matters more. He wants to make a good impression. He becomes more aware of every word. He wonders how you're perceiving him. And suddenly, the man who normally has something to say about everything becomes the man searching for the right sentence. That doesn't mean every nervous man is attracted to you. But when his behavior changes specifically around you, it's worth paying attention to. Because when somebody matters to you, your behavior often changes before you consciously decide to change it. And that brings us to something even deeper. A woman with confidence doesn't need to force attraction out of a man. She doesn't interrogate him. She doesn't constantly ask, "Do you like me?" She doesn't chase every little signal. She observes. She stays grounded. She lets his behavior reveal what his words may be hiding. Because your power is not in getting a man to admit that he wants you. Your power is in knowing your own worth regardless of whether he does. There is a huge difference between being curious about a man's attraction and becoming dependent on his attention. The first is awareness. The second is chasing validation. And the woman who understands her value doesn't need to chase validation. She knows that if a man is interested, his actions will eventually become clearer. His attention will become more consistent. His effort will become more obvious. And his intentions will begin to match his attraction. So as you pay attention to these body language signs, remember something important. Body language can suggest attraction, but it cannot replace communication, respect, consistency, and genuine effort. Never allow one glance to convince you that someone is deeply interested. Never allow one smile to make you create an entire relationship in your imagination. Watch what happens over time, because attraction may begin with body language, but real interest eventually has to become behavior. And when a man truly wants to know you, he won't just look at you. He'll make an effort to be around you. He'll remember what you say. He'll create opportunities to talk to you. He'll show curiosity about your life. He'll respect your boundaries. And most importantly, he'll give you something far more valuable than confusing signals, clarity. But before we get there are still 3 more body language signs you need to recognize. Signs that can reveal when a man is fighting his attraction, trying to hide his feelings, or becoming increasingly drawn toward you without saying a single word. The 6th sign is that he finds reasons to be physically closer to you, not necessarily touching you, not necessarily crossing boundaries, simply being near you. Maybe there are 10 places he could stand, but somehow he ends up standing beside you. Maybe the room is crowded and he naturally finds his way into your space. Maybe you're sitting with a group and he chooses the seat closest to you. Maybe the conversation ends, but he doesn't immediately walk away. That lingering matters, because when someone is attracted to you, proximity can become magnetic. He wants to experience your presence. He wants to hear your voice. He wants to see your reactions. He wants to be part of your environment. But understand this clearly. Genuine attraction should never make you feel uncomfortable or unsafe. A man who respects you will respect your physical boundaries. The important thing isn't simply that he gets close. It's whether he becomes more attentive, respectful, and engaged when he does. The 7th sign is that he becomes unusually attentive to your reactions. You say something funny and he looks at you to see if you laughed. Someone tells a joke and his eyes immediately search for your reaction. He says something, and instead of just continuing the conversation, he watches your face. Why? Because your opinion suddenly matters. When a man is attracted to you, he may become more interested in how you perceive him. Did you like what he said? Did you find it funny? Did you understand his joke? Did you approve of his opinion? Did you notice him? That desire for your reaction can be incredibly subtle. He may never say, "I care what you think about me," but his behavior can communicate it. And here's where you need to be wise. Don't reward confusion with obsession. If you notice that he's watching your reactions, Simply stay yourself. Smile if you genuinely feel like smiling. Laugh if something is funny. Speak honestly. You don't need to become a different woman just to keep his attention, because the right kind of attraction doesn't require you to perform. It allows you to be yourself. The eighth sign is perhaps the most important of all. His body language eventually matches his effort. This is where you separate temporary attraction from meaningful interest. A man can look at you. He can smile at you. He can stand near you. He can act nervous around you. He can give you every body language signal in the world. But if he never makes an effort, you have to pay attention to that too, because attraction without intention can remain nothing more than attraction. And you deserve more than being somebody's passing curiosity. You deserve clarity. You deserve consistency. You deserve a man whose actions make you feel secure instead of constantly making you question where you stand. That means if his body language says, I'm interested, but his behavior repeatedly says, I'm unavailable, believe the pattern. Don't fall in love with potential. Don't build a future around a few glances. Don't spend weeks analyzing one conversation, and don't let uncertainty consume your peace. A confident woman observes the signs, but she doesn't become addicted to decoding them. She lets the man reveal himself. Because you don't have to chase someone into choosing you. You don't have to convince someone that you're valuable. You don't have to compete for attention. You don't have to become jealous just to see if he reacts. You don't have to manipulate him into missing you. You simply remain grounded in who you are. And that is where real feminine confidence begins. A woman who knows her worth doesn't panic when a man becomes distant. She doesn't immediately assume she did something wrong. She doesn't spend the entire night checking her phone. She doesn't rewrite every conversation in her head. She watches, she listens, she pays attention, and she allows time to reveal what emotion tries to hide, because anybody can create a moment. Consistency creates trust. Anybody can flirt. Effort creates connection. Anybody can stare. Intentional action creates clarity. And anybody can make you feel wanted for 5 minutes. But the right person will make you feel respected over time. That's why these 8 body language signs should never become a game where you try to decode every movement a man makes. Use them as awareness. Use them to understand human behavior, but never use them to abandon your common sense. If he makes eye contact, notice it. If he mirrors you, notice it. If he becomes nervous around you, notice it. If he moves closer, notice it. If he watches your reactions, notice it. But then ask the bigger question. What does he actually do? Because eventually, attraction has to leave the body and enter real life. It has to become a conversation. It has to become effort. It has to become respect. It has to become consistency. And if it doesn't, you don't need to force it. You can walk away with your dignity intact. There's something incredibly powerful about a woman who doesn't need to know whether every man in the room finds her attractive. She knows who she is. She knows what she brings to the table. She knows that attention is not the same thing as love. She knows chemistry is not the same thing as commitment. She knows a compliment is not the same thing as character. And she knows that being desired is not the highest form of validation. Being respected is. Being valued is. Being treated with honesty is. Being chosen intentionally is. So, if you notice a man showing these signs around you, don't immediately rush toward him. Don't start changing yourself to maintain his attention. Don't start chasing conversations. Don't start making excuses for inconsistent behavior. Stay calm. Stay confident. Let him come forward, because if the attraction is real, he will eventually have to do more than communicate through his body. He will have to communicate through his choices. And that's where you get your answer. Maybe he looks at you differently. Maybe his posture changes. Maybe he fixes his appearance. Maybe he mirrors you. Maybe his energy changes. Maybe he finds reasons to stay close. Maybe he watches your reactions. Maybe his actions begin matching those signals. When all of those pieces start coming together, you may have a clearer picture of what's happening beneath the surface. But remember this, you are not sitting around waiting for a man to decide whether you are worthy of being pursued. You are deciding whether his behavior is worthy of your attention. That shift changes everything. Instead of asking, how can I make him like me? You begin asking, does the way he treats me deserve access to me? Instead of asking, how can I make him chase me? You ask, is he showing enough effort for me to take him seriously? Instead of asking, What does this one little sign mean? You ask. What pattern is his behavior creating? That is maturity. That is confidence. That is self-respect. And that is the mindset that protects your heart. Because attraction can be exciting, but peace is priceless. You can enjoy the butterflies without losing yourself. You can appreciate attention without becoming dependent on it. You can recognize chemistry without rushing into a fantasy. And you can be interested in someone while still maintaining your standards. So the next time you catch a man looking at you and quickly looking away, remember this. Maybe it means attraction. Maybe it means curiosity. Maybe it means something else. You don't have to decide immediately. Observe, let time speak, let consistency speak, let effort speak, let character speak. Because the most powerful thing a woman can do is stop trying to force an answer and start allowing behavior to reveal the truth. And if he is genuinely attracted to you, eventually his body won't be the only thing talking. His actions will speak. His effort will speak. His consistency will speak. His intentions will speak. And when all of those things align, you won't have to spend your nights wondering whether he likes you. You'll know, not because you decoded every movement, but because he made it clear. So never underestimate the power of observation. Never underestimate the information hidden in the smallest behaviors. But most importantly, never underestimate your own value. You are not here to chase attention. You are here to recognize genuine connection. You are not here to convince someone to see your worth. You are here to choose someone who already recognizes it. And you are not here to settle for confusing signals when you deserve clear intentions. The right man may start with a look. He may start with nervousness. He may start with a smile. He may start by finding reasons to stand near you. But if his feelings are real, eventually he will step beyond the signals. He will communicate. He will show effort. He will make his intentions known. And until then, keep your heart open, but keep your standards higher, because the goal isn't to make every man attracted to you. The goal is to become so secure in yourself that you no longer need every man's attraction to feel valuable. That is the kind of confidence people can feel before you even say a word. And sometimes that confidence is exactly what makes someone look twice. If this message helped you see attraction and body language in a healthier way, remember one final thing. Never chase what should naturally meet you halfway. Know your worth, protect your peace, and let actions reveal what words refuse to say. And if you want more powerful relationship insights, confidence lessons, and mindset videos, stay connected with the channel. Subscribe, because the next message might be exactly what you need to hear.